I'm going to show how to use a block in Trikonasana and Parsvakonasana, triangle pose and side angle pose, to modify the pose for those of us who are a little stiffer in our legs or a little bit limited in our hips or for some reason need to come out of more of the full expression of the pose. And a block, it's pretty straightforward. Blocks, I always say, have 3 handy adjustable heights. So when you're in triangle pose, the first thing you want to do for you or for your students is to make sure that you've got a broad enough base, lining your feet up underneath your wrists. If you think about this as the foundation, as a triangle of triangle pose, then the base of the triangle is formed between our 2 feet, and the apex of our triangle is formed at the top of our legs. When we narrow the base, we actually lift the apex of the triangle higher, and we're further from the floor. So one way to help the pose is to get a wide enough stance. When you have new students or students who you're really wanting to assist in step wider, or maybe you're that student, one way to get this measurement is to put one foot against the wall and step your opposite foot into the center of the room until your hand that's on the wall is placed on the wall, and your arm is straight. And that'll start to give you the distance and a sense of stability from the use of the wall as well. So broaden the base. That's a big key thing. And while it's absolutely possible to modify these poses by taking your hand to your shin, I'm really a fan of getting your hand onto a block or onto a chair, even if you need to bring it up quite high, so that instead of just a light rest of your hand on your leg, you can have a full active rooting quality through your leg, through your hand. This will help take some of the weight-bearing function out of the pose and give you more access to the lengthening of the muscles you need to keep your legs straight. If we're having to kind of hold ourselves up and work like this, we're doing a very big strengthening work, which is not bad or wrong. But if we bring our hand down for triangle pose, that's going to help a lot. And again, you've got your 3 handy adjustable heights for your block. The other great thing that using a block does for both triangle pose and Parsvakonasana is it keeps our pelvis from excessively tilting forward. So even if we have the flexibility in our legs to take our hand all the way down to the floor and even get it flat, a lot of times what's happened in doing that is our top of our pelvis has tilted forward. And try as we might to get the strong external rotation out of the front leg and to get your pelvis more neutralized, it's really quite difficult down at the very depth of the pose. And you can play around with this, not because you need it for hamstring flexibility, but just so that you can have a little bit of an experiment with some self-knowledge. Here I'm looking my palm all the way down. I'm lifting my low belly up, toning my legs, and scooping the right side of my buttocks under. And I say, well, is it any easier to do that if I come up onto my fingertips? Yeah, I get a little more work out of my front hip. And I say, well, what if I put my hand on a block? Even better. And what happens if I come up higher and get more power out of my front leg? And guess what? When I'm at the highest height, even though it's not the same stretch in my legs, so to speak, my capacity to articulate skillful action increases. So sometimes modifications are because we're stiff or we have judgments about them, but really using props and modified forms of the pose can often give us an opportunity to get a little bit more clarity in our action because we're not at the full range of motion for our body. So blocks for all of these lateral angle poses, same with Parsvakonasana, all of the same principles apply. All right, have fun with that. Namaste.